Today on Personal Injury Court.
I happened to look out my window and I saw a cow coming in from the back of my property. All of a sudden, excuse me, the cow started charging at me. That cow knocked me over with the force of a freight train.
We told her, go back inside. We have everything under control.
You want this court to award you $90,000. This court has consulted a physics expert.
They would have collided approximately 7.5 feet from the front door.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of stuff in my courtroom, but I've never had anyone trampled by a cow.
Judge Gino Brogdon spent 10 years on the bench ruling on cases worth billions of dollars. Now he presides over some of the largest claims in TV history. This is Personal Injury Court.
Good day, everyone. This is the matter of Mays versus Huff. Miss Mays, it's my understanding that you are suing Mr. Huff and his sister, Miss Huff, for injuries when their animal came on your property and caused you severe injuries.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're suing for $45,000 for past medicals, $15,000 for future medicals, $30,000 for pain and suffering, for a total award of $90,000. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Huff, Miss Huff, you all believe this is her fault. Had she kept her nose out of your business, she would have never been hurt, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, well, let's get into the legal sauce. Tell me about your house.
I have lived in this rural farming community and my house my entire life. I actually went to school with Harry and Angela's parents. I love animals. I grew up around them. I enjoy gardening and photography and my very special subject, my dog Neo, and we have lived next door to each other for generations.
Well, up until this time, you all been pretty good neighbors, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me about your relationship with Miss Mays before this incident.
Well, as she stated, we've been neighbors for generations, you know? Our
whole life.
Yeah, our entire lives. And that farm has been in our family for decades, you know? Our father owned it, and then before him, our grandfather owned it. So we've been in the industry for over 60 years.
Now, y'all have a farm with cows, I take it.
Cows and goats, yes,
Cows and
Your
goats.
Honor.
Well, Miss Mays, up until this time, has it been any problem living next to a field of cows?
Not when their parents owned the dairy farm.
Well, tell me what happened on the day you got hurt.
I was in the kitchen making some bone broth, and I happened to look out my window, and I saw a cow coming in from the back of my property. And it went off in through my garden, and then shortly after that, I see Harry and Angela running up in through my yard and back into my garden, trampling on my plants. They started picking things up. I think I saw tomatoes flying.
They're picking up your vegetables?
They were picking up my vegetables and throwing them at the cow.
We weren't throwing them, Your Honor. We were trying to lure her, like, towards us, to get her out of her yard.
So to get a cow's attention, you throw vegetables at her?
We weren't chucking it. We were just trying to, like, lure it with some lettuce.
We're trying some food, entice the cow to walk
That
back
is
to
not
us.
true. They were throwing my vegetables at the cow.
So, Miss Mays, they're in your garden. What happens? How did you get hurt?
I was standing there
In the way.
asking them to get out of my garden and to stop throwing things at this cow.
Okay.
And I looked to my right, looked at the cow. The way the cow was looking at me was very scary.
So why didn't you turn back around to your
all
house?
All of a sudden, excuse me, the cow started charging at me. I've had severe arthritis that's gotten worse over the years. I tried to move out of the way as quick as I could, but it wasn't fast enough, Your Honor. That cow knocked me over with the force of a freight train. I hit the ground, and I hit it hard. The next thing I knew, I was in incredible pain. I had pain running up through my ankle, all the way up through my hip. The breath was just totally taken out of me, and I was terrified.
So this cow trampled you?
He totally trampled
Your Honor,
me.
the cow was
and I
50
think
feet away from her. She didn't even need to be there in the first place. She didn't listen to us. We told her to go back inside.
I think
we
he
had
trampled
everything
me
under
because
control.
they were throwing things
Now,
at him.
No,
a
you
cow
think
is
they
a
got
giant
tricked.
animal.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of stuff in my courtroom, but I've never had anyone trampled by a cow.
It was very painful and scary. I still think about it at
You
night.
should
I
have
have
stayed.
nightmares about
Why didn't you
it.
listen to us? We told you to go back inside, but
Listen to you while you
insisted.
stood in
So
my
y'all saw
garden and
this?
destroyed my property.
Absolutely.
Y'all saw this. You saw your cow run her over.
Yes, Your
Yes, Your
Honor.
Honor.
And this isn't your fault?
No, we told her to go inside, and she refused. We told her
It's my
repeatedly.
property. I'm going to defend my property.
We
from
knew
you
what we
talk
were
to
doing.
me.
You don't know what we're doing.
Y'all talk to me.
She doesn't
She
know
put
what
herself
she's
in
doing.
harm's way.
There's going to be order in this court.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me.
Yes, Your Honor.
She put herself in harm's way. We told her, go back inside. We have everything under
Repeated.
control.
Did you hear
Put
them say
myself
that?
in my property to defend my property
But
from
what were
them
you going
destroying
to
my
do? Were
property.
you going
plan
to
on
rope the
doing?
cow?
Mr. Huff.
You were not.
Talk to me. So
Not.
they tell you, go back in. They know cows. You don't know cows,
They
right?
don't. Their parents knew cows. Their
this is our
parents
family
knew
for
how to take care of
decades.
cows.
I've been handling cows since I could walk. Since I could
You
hold
were
a ranch,
riding
I've been working
cows
on that
when you were
ranch
a
my
boy.
entire life. Of course I know cows.
So you knew what you were doing while you're out there.
Absolutely.
Honor.
Why did you come in chasing after the cow and start throwing things at him then if you knew what you were doing?
Well, what did you all think was going to happen? Let's say she didn't come out. What do you all think was going to happen?
We were going to get the cow's
Yeah.
attention calmly and then walk it back over to our property. We're right next door. As
Yeah.
soon as the cow would have seen the other cows, it would have made a beeline over to the other herd.
Now, this might sound crazy, but with dogs, you can whistle and get their attention that way. Do you have some audibles with cows?
Not really. Like, cows move in a very specific way. And so if you can't just walk straight up to a cow and expect it to go this way. You kind of have to do a different approach to it. So that's why we were trying to lure it with some lettuce out of her garden.
Coming up,
I sustained a crushed and broken ankle. It was shattered into pieces. I have 2 metal rods in my ankle.
The cow got spooked, ran out the barn door.
You left the barn door
barreled
open.
through the gate. Yeah, we left the barn door open
Judge,
so
this
it'd
is
be
the
more
first
comfortable.
time this has ever happened.
My dog is my guard dog. He was bred to defend his territory. He was right here by my side. He barked at the cow to warn him because that's what dogs instinctively do. I happened to look out my window and I saw a cow coming in from the back of my property. And it went off in through my garden. And then shortly after that, I see Harry and Angela running up in through my yard.
So to get a cow's attention, you throw vegetables at them?
We weren't
No.
chucking it. We were just trying to like lure it with some lettuce.
Trying some food, entice the cow
Yeah.
to walk
That
back
is not
to us.
true. They were throwing my vegetables at the cow.
Miss Mays, what did you intend to do when you went out there?
I wanted them, first off, to get out of my garden. My
Okay.
garden that I worked so
What do you
hard
think
in.
All right.
we were trying
They
to
were
do?
in there with no regard, just throwing things at the cow. It looked like they were tormenting
You
the
weren't
cow.
The
Were
only
you
thing
trying to get
tormenting
the
the cow
cow
was
out?
you and your dog.
I was not trying to do anything to the cow. I didn't see the cow until I turned to my right after I asked them to get out of my garden.
And
3
that's when you
times.
saw
You're
the
changing
cow
your story
looking
now.
at you.
Yes, I
You wanna
turned
change your
and saw
story,
the
Myra.
cow.
I
Okay.
can't hear y'all at the same time.
Sorry, Your Honor.
You saw this cow looking at you.
Oh, I did. He had that look. Ears back, whites of his eyes, a little bit of the foot going.
So you
I
knew that was
yeah.
trouble.
Yeah.
But she stood there.
I
instead of
tried
going.
to move as quick as I could, Your
So
Honor.
you start to do your best to
I
run
turned
away.
to run back into my house. I turned to this way, and it wasn't fast enough.
And the cow ran you over.
It was within seconds that cow was on top of me.
Ms. Mays, you have submitted $45,000 in medical bills to this court. You're asking this court to give you $15,000 for future medical bills. You've been through it, haven't you?
I've got a long road ahead of me, Your Honor.
Now, I see the neck brace on you. Tell me about your injuries.
I sustained a crushed and broken ankle. It was shattered into pieces. I have 2 metal rods in my ankle. I have a torn ACL. I've had multiple surgeries that I am still recovering from. I have got a long road ahead of me in physical therapy, which is excruciating and very painful, especially if you throw on top of it my arthritis.
That's a tough journey. Mr. and Ms. Huff, how did your cow get out?
Well, we were doing standard procedure. We were just in the barn tagging all our new cows, you know? That way everyone knows that there are cows and accounting for them. And it's a new cow, new environment. Cows are creatures of habit. If something's different or new people or smells, then
They
it might get
allowed the
spooked.
cows to get out.
We didn't plan for it to happen. The cow got spooked, ran out the barn door.
You left the barn door
barreled through
open.
the gate. Yeah, we left the barn door open
Judge,
so
this
it'd
is
be
the
more
first
comfortable.
time this has ever happened. We've never lost a cow
And
in
the
60
broken
years.
gate that you haven't fixed in 30 years.
So
Knowing
what,
you have
is that your
livestock.
gate?
It is
Yes,
after
Your
the
Honor.
cow plowed through
Now,
it.
y'all can imagine
But
that.
you have cows.
Is that what the cow did to the gate, or did it look like that before your cow
Oh, Your
got
Honor,
out?
that's what the
the cow
cow
did.
after the cow ran through it.
So the cow ran through the gate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you stop a cow from running somebody over once it gets out of your property?
Well, we chased after it, and then her gate was
Chased after
wide open, and then she came outside, and she could have gone out of the way, but she decided to come out
Could have closed
and
the
just stay
barn
there.
door.
Next,
I tried as fast as I could. I have arthritis in my hips.
You weren't
and
paying
in my
attention.
Your back was to the cow.
You were just worried about your precious tomatoes.
This court has consulted a physics expert. Ms. Lowry, tell us about this.
We can see that they would have collided approximately 7.5 feet from the front door.
In looking at the pictures of that gate didn't look like the best gate.
Your Honor, that's
my
held our cows in for decades.
You saw this cow looking at you,
He had that look, a little bit of the foot going.
so you
I
knew that was
yeah.
trouble.
But she stood there.
I tried to move as quick as I could, Your Honor,
And the cow ran you over.
within seconds.
We didn't plan for it to happen. The cow got spooked, ran out the barn door.
You left the barn door open.
Ms. Mays, the Huffs say that you could have gotten out of the way. Couldn't you have gotten out of the
No,
way?
sir. I tried as fast as I could. I have arthritis in my hips.
You weren't
and
paying
in my...
attention.
I want to understand how it is you couldn't get out of the way or whether you could get out of the way. So
I
this
can't
court
answer that.
has consulted a physics expert.
Yes, sir.
Katie Lowry.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sheriff Matt, will you get Miss Lowry for me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Miss Lowry, could you state your name for the record?
Katie Lowry.
Miss Lowry, Miss Mays says that she couldn't get out of the way of this cow. Mr. Huff, Miss Huff, they say she should have gotten out of the way of the cow. Tell us about this.
Well, I've brought an animation with me today.
Okay.
And the first thing that we want to look at is distance. Based on evidence that both parties have submitted to me, the cow was 50 feet from Miss Mays, and Miss Mays was 20 feet from the door where she could have escaped. The second thing we want to look at is speed. The cow can move at approximately 20 miles an hour, while Miss Mays, with her arthritis, could move about 4 miles an hour. So the question is, could she have gotten out of the way? So if we roll the animation, we can see that they would have collided approximately 7.5 feet from the front door. And just based on the evidence provided and the calculations I've made, there's just no way she could have made it to the door.
Miss Lowry, you are released. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, the cow's not a Maserati, but it looks like you just couldn't get out the way in light of your physical condition.
I tried as hard as I could. I was terrified. I just couldn't move that quickly.
I see that you're asking this court for $30,000 for pain and suffering. That's
Yes,
what
sir,
that's
my
all
quality
about.
of life is affected by this.
You all see this is a big deal, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Absolutely, Your Honor. I feel terrible for Miss Myra. But she escalated the situation. Her and her dog ran out there, started yelling at us. The dog started barking at the cow.
Nipping at us too, trying to get at us.
So the dog was barking and being aggressive?
Being so
no, my
aggressive.
dog
and
is
it's a
not
bull
aggressive.
mastiff. That's a huge dog.
A dog-
That thing's
yeah.
a small horse.
My dog is my guard dog. It's only him and me on that property. He was bred to defend his
Why did you
territory.
feel you needed to
and
defend
defend
yourself?
his
We've been
property.
neighbors this whole
So
time.
when he
We're not
came out
escalated
following
the
me,
situation.
Order in the court.
when he came out, he did not lunge at anybody. He did not chase after the cow. He was right here by my side. He barked at the cow to warn him because that's what dogs instinctively do when they are bred to guard.
She should have just stayed inside and should have put her dog away or on a leash or something.
So, Ms. Huff, you're blaming her dog for this?
In most cases with animal attacks, it's because there's another animal involved.
No,
Cows
it's a
just-
perceived threat, and also
Her
it's
dog
defense
was
of their
challenging
territory.
our cow.
No, my
When
dog was
cows get
protecting
backed
my.
into a corner.
No.
They
go
act
into
like
the
any
protective
wild
mode.
animal.
My
would.
dog was protecting
So your
his
dog,
property, Your Honor.
I can't
Sorry.
hear if you hollering this ear and you're hollering this one. It gets all
sorry, Your
jumbled in
Honor.
my
I'm
head.
sorry.
Mr. Huff, you believe that Miss Mays' dog provoked your cow.
Absolutely, Your Honor. Look, Cows are calm, peaceful creatures. You have this mini horse of a dog out there barking, threatening the cow that's already backed up, that's already scared. We're trying to keep it calm.
Well, what's going to happen the next time, Your Honor, if another cow gets spooked? Is it going to break through the same gate that they have not fixed in 30 years? How do we prevent that from happening?
In looking at the pictures of that gate didn't look like the best gate.
Your Honor, that's held our cows in for decades.
Decades, thank you. Decades.
Decades.
It needs to
so
be
this
replaced.
is the first occurrence. You make it seem like a cow breaks out every
But you got new cows, and you
They
just
ain't talk to each other. You got to talk to me.
Sorry, Your Honor. They got new cows. They just told us that they were spooked, that they were nervous. Why do they have a gate that can't keep them in?
Since you had this injury, how are you sleeping?
Not well at all. I can't sleep on my left side. I can't sleep on my back. I have to sleep a little bit sitting up for my neck.
And that's why you're asking this court for $30,000 for your pain and suffering?
Yes, sir.
The verdict is in.
They came onto your property, trampled your garden, chasing their cow, throwing your vegetables, and you went out to try to get everybody off your property, and the cow ran you over. Mr. Huff, Miss Huff, you all believe that this is all her fault, that had she stayed on the porch with her dog, the worst thing that would have happened is she would have had trampled vegetables, and you all would have compensated her for that, but we wouldn't have met today.
The cow started charging at me. I've had severe arthritis that's gotten worse over the years. I tried to move out of the way, but it wasn't fast enough, Your Honor. That cow knocked me over with the force of a freight train. I hit the ground, and I hit it hard.
They told her to go inside, and she refused.
Folks, I think I've heard enough. I'm ready to render my decision. In every personal injury case, the plaintiff, you, Miss Mays, you have to prove that Mr. Huff, Miss Huff, that they committed a wrong that caused your harm. Clearly, you were harmed. You've put up evidence here in this court that they came onto your property, trampled your garden, chasing their cow, throwing your vegetables, and you went out to try to get everybody off your property, and the cow ran you over. And you believe that they are responsible for everything that you want because of this injury. Mr. Huff, Miss Huff, you all believe that this is all her fault, that had she stayed on the porch with her dog, the worst thing that would have happened is she would have had trampled vegetables, and you all would have compensated her for that, but we wouldn't have met today.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, the law contemplates everything. Everything that you put in this court is evidence. Folks, this case really takes us back to the three-legged stool of a negligence case. The plaintiff has to prove wrong caused harm. If one of those is missing, the stool falls and the plaintiff loses. This case is focused on cause. If there's one event that causes another, you win, you lose. But when the wrong and the harm are interrupted by some event, that's called an intervening cause. Here, the evidence shows that you all really did some things that you could be held responsible for. But, Miss Mays, you inserted yourself into this in a way that you did not have to and put yourself in harm's way. The law says that's an intervening cause, and regardless of your injuries, I must find against you because cause is missing and your three-legged stool falls and you lose. I find in favor of the defendants and against the plaintiff. That is my final verdict, and this matter is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you.